Welcome everyone to another video. Jawsmunch here. We're going to be looking at the eco position today. So I've been doing a bit of testing on it, trying to get it down to where I can give some better advice on the eco position. I am not going to give you the most efficient build. I'm going to give you kind of a beginner's build to the eco position to just help you get an idea of how to start doing the eco. If you haven't done it yet, try to get into a lobby with some newer people. I would recommend no higher than 20 OS and give it a shot, because you're gonna have to learn it sometime. So try to follow what I'm gonna be teaching you here in this video, and hopefully it'll work out for you. So with economy, your goals are going to be a bit different than if you were frontline. You need to have a bit of a broader perspective than you do when you are doing the front. So normally when you're at the front, you know, you'll start here and you'll get all your stuff built, and then you push up to here and you're holding, and your zone that you really care about is maybe some of your allies over here and some of the canyon, right? And this is like all the area that you ever pay attention to. Now that's still most of the map, but you don't really pay as much attention to here, and you don't pay as much attention to here. You really only pay attention to your spot, right? Now with the economy position, it's a little bit different, because you need to be aware of everything. The whole front line has to be paid attention to on the economy. Okay, another thing with the economy, and I'm just giving all these like positions and thought processes before we get started, that way you can we might not have time to go over them while we're building and talking about other things, so I'm trying to get a groundwork laid here. So with the economy, one of your main like jobs in the match is to get T2 construction units out to your teammates. So what I mean by that is you'll eventually get to the point where you're building a T2 building, a T2 factory, and the T2 construction unit is able to upgrade the mexes here. Okay, and so that's very valuable, because that essentially doubles the income for your entire I hate it when it does that. I don't know why it does that. It doubles the income for your entire team if all of them get T2 mexes and they're all upgrade their advanced metal extractors. You're doubling your income for your team. So it's a very pivotal role, and getting that out as quickly as possible is very important to do. So that's your main objective your main beginning objective as an eco player, is to get that out quickly. All right, we're not going to belabor too much anymore, and we'll just jump into this. And I wouldn't recommend following my build order exactly. Okay, with beyond all reason, you need to learn to pivot and change as the game changes. If you see something going wrong, see something on the map that's a disaster, change how you're playing eco. And that's where this game is not quite the same as StarCraft and some other RTSs that you might have played that are a bit more like consistent. Like every game could be very similar, you know, follow this build order and you'll get to this rank, and Beyond All Reason's a bit more fluid than that, just because of how much can happen on a map of this size, and with the different strategies someone might come up with, you're gonna have to be able to pivot. Okay, so that's a very important thing with ecos, being able to pivot. All right, so I recommend for eco going with Armada, because they have cheaper economy, which will help you get your stuff up faster, which will help your economy grow larger quicker, which means that you'll be a better influence on your team as you play. So I have everything, all my resources set to normal, and so I don't have like any income bonuses or anything. So we're going to be doing it exactly how I would do it in a game. I do 1, 2, 3 mexes, okay, and that leaves me at 0 energy after they're all complete. And then I go for a couple solar panels. I do not recommend doing wind speed with economy because that can mess up your start. I can make it so that you're maybe lagging a little bit behind. Sometimes your wind will drop and that just hurts you. It's not worth it, in my opinion, for the economy position to play the gamble game with the wind. You might have heard differently. You can do what you want to do. This is just what I recommend, especially for a beginner. Is just, yeah, you know what I'm saying. All right, so we got the 3 mexes and the 2 solar, and then after that, the 2 solar is exactly enough to go into a bot factory. Now, the reason why you do bots is because they cost less metal, they cost less energy, and they just get you to where you need to be. So there's no real point to go into a vehicle factory or any other type of factory if you're playing the eco position. Just go straight into bots. It's the cheapest, and you can get everything you need to do from them. So I also will then queue up another windmill because you want your guy constantly doing stuff, right? So you want a good chain. So boom, 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 chain of events. Okay. And then we queue up a couple lasers. And I mean, for economy, it's a little bit different. You're not queuing up a bunch of units. You're not trying to build an army. You're just trying to get to T2. So we're building up a Lazarus to get metal on the map. And we're building up, 1 second here. You got to also build a couple windmills. That's what I do anyway. Until your bar starts to fill. Once you get to almost full with your wind, then you can start throwing or like aiding your factory, boosting your factory. So you get your resbot out. He's going to be collecting metal all over the map, which might make your teammates mad sometimes, but it's what you gotta do. Then you got your first bot. Actually, he's going to be doing these 2 mexes. You could have him send him to the 2nd mex, but it's not quite as fast. Or send him to the 3rd mex, but it's not quite as fast. And you want to make sure he's on high priority. I toggled that. Yours will probably already be on high priority, so don't worry about that. Okay, now I usually do about this many wind, like a square of wind, and I have these guys helping each other on wind speed, and they need to be on high priority as well. Okay, then I will come down and build this last mex, but I also build a couple energy converters just because I'm going to be wasting energy if I don't. So I want to make sure that I try to use up all that energy that I can. I might need, we'll do, let's see, is that going to be enough? We're at 70%. That should be enough. So I come down, build this last mex. Your bot that got these 2 mexes, he's going to be going right up back to where he came from and working on the T2 factory. The commander's going to build a metal storage up here. This will just make it so if you have a buffer, if you need a buffer, it's available, you know. I like to do that for just keeping my resources a little bit more available, not accidentally spilling over metal. And then we're going to be sucking up our solar panels because solar is the weakest energy production in the game. And so those are going to be gone. And I'm not integrating a comm bomb, mostly because I haven't gotten that part down to become efficient yet. So I'm not going to teach you guys something I don't know well enough. And this is just really simple, and it's a decent timing. Okay, so we're storing up all that metal, and then we're just going to have our commander boost that T2 factory and get that up. And this whole time, especially at this point, you need to check your map. You need to be like, okay, are we good on our front? Are we weak over here? Are we getting pushed? You know, what's going on? You need to be aware because that could change what you have to end up doing. If you're getting aggressed on the front line very heavily, okay, we got low power. Try to boost this a little bit. Oh, now we're wasting. That was kind of pointless. I should have just had my commander keep going. Just leave my energy conversion as low as possible. We're going to turn these guys to low priority. That way they aren't using quite as much energy. And then you're just going to instantly queue up. You're probably going to need around 6 or 7 advanced construction. You know, it just depends. And by this point, people will likely be feeding you metal. So it's kind of hard to say that, you know, this is an exact replica of what you would normally go through, because you won't be stalled on energy quite as bad here. Or stalled on metal, because right now I'm out of metal. But usually people would give you some of their metal to get the T2 constructor up. But that's not the case here. So anyway, the second a T2 constructor gets up, you're going to want to push for getting one metal extractor up. If you can get one metal extractor up, then you'll be looking a lot better as far as metal income, and that's really how you scale. You gotta hit your metal income points. Oh, come on. There we go. Our wind speed died, that's why we're doing so badly. Oof. 0.5 wind speed, not great. See if we can't just boost a little bit of energy out of it. Anyway, that's not ideal, obviously. If your wind speed drops, that's gonna lower your ability to do much of anything. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, you're gonna be handing out, people will likely be paying you metal. You know, you can type in chat, T2 open. Don't type it in all chat, because that means that you'll be sending it to your allies. Okay. Or sending it to your enemy, and then they know your timings, and that gives them a slight advantage. But yeah, so you got those T2 constructors out, and I like to at least get one advanced metal extractor out for me personally before I start giving out to the T2 to my teammates. You know, I can like come over here. If you don't know, there's a little button down here that has like 2 arrows on it. You double click that next to the player, and you can hand that player that unit, and it shares it with them. So that's how you will be sharing your T2. But since we're doing an example, I only need 2 of these. I don't need a bunch. And they're not really a focus yet. So just going through, this is kind of the slow part of the game, where you know you don't really have a lot going for you because you're just so resource intense trying to maximize stuff. So, and then you'll probably get to the point where your res bot is done like grabbing good metal, and then you can just scan the front. You can just be like, okay, is there any metal in this area that I can grab without my res bot dying? And if the answer is yes, that's great. And go get it, because that's free. So now we need a couple fusion reactors here. Which I'm actually going to put these guys on high priority. Everyone else is going to be on low priority. I need you guys to move so that we can keep building. You probably only need 2 or 3 of these advanced solar panels, just enough to get to your advanced or to your fusion reactor. So build it. Basically, the rule of thumb for my fusion reactor is if other people are overflowing energy, it can help you. But if you're really low on energy, just keep building these until you start to like not what do you call it? Redline. It's not redline. I'm thinking of the word redline, but you don't end up stalling. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, so just build these until you stop stalling energy. Right now we're almost to that point. So I'm gonna have my commander hop over and work on the fusion reactor over here, because that is a bit more energy intensive. And then this guy is he's gonna keep helping this with the metal extractors. You could add, if you end up having like extra metal or stuff, you can throw out some butlers and get them to go and do some assistance on the build power and things. Not that you would have to do it, but it's available, you know, if you need to. Okay, these guys finished the solar panels, and as you can see, we're maxed out. So we're gonna turn these guys to low priority because we're low on the metal again. Get these guys on high priority. We just need those metal extractors up. In fact, I'm gonna help with the metal extractors first, because that'll give us a little bit of a better timing on our APHIS, or on our fusion reactor, not APHIS. APHIS is next. So generally, it's pretty good to go for 2 fusion reactors and then go for your advanced fusions. I don't know, there might be a build where you can do an advanced fusion like right off the bat, but I'm not aware of it, so I'm just telling you my simple build that I do, and it works pretty well for me. So now the second you get this guy up, you need to go straight for energy conversion, because that's where you're going to start seeing compounding like interest. Also, with your T2 factory here, that's another thing I kind of forgot to integrate. Normally, if the front is clear and everything, normally I would suck up this and put it into my fusion reactor. That would give you a little bit extra speed, but I completely forgot to do that this time. So that's fine. This is a safety net to have, just in case the front line's struggling. If they're pushing through, if they're pushing through, you can build a couple hounds or a couple gunslingers, whatever you like, and help hold the front where there might be a weaker position. Just because, like, think about it. If you don't help the front and the front collapses on you, the game's over. Yes, it's not ideal that you have to send units to the front line, but it's also not ideal to lose the game. So regardless, you need to be like focusing on winning the game, even if it messes up your build. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, each game's different. You're going to be stuck with players who are worse than you, players that are better than you, and you need to be mobile and able to switch out of your build, do what needs to happen, just based solely on the fact that, you know, the other players around you might not be that good, and just, you know, help them. That's how you win the game, is you all win together. Okay, now after this guy's done with his last mechs, I will come over here and I will build an anti-nuke. Now with the anti-nuke, you want to make sure that you cover as much area as possible. Okay, probably like right there's about as good as I can get. So we want to try to cover this guy's base. You can't really cover this guy's base very well, but it's at least somewhat covered. And then you want to cover this guy's base. Now air should be building an anti-nuke for themselves as well. Oh, and you can see here now we are scaling on our metal, because we got that one energy converter up. That's 10 metal a second. So we're really cooking now, and we need to focus on build power. That's really going to be the thing that pushes us over the top. And then our resbot, we can just come over here, suck up all these extra resources that we don't really need. Wind power at this point is worse. The solar panels are worse. Everything's worse. So just suck it all up. Get it out of here. You can hold Control Alt to suck up all of one type of thing. So do that. Anyway, when you're doing your anti-nuke, make sure you cover this corner. If this corner is not covered, they can land a nuke here and blow up this whole base, which can end up chain reacting into your base, especially later on in the game. Okay, we are going to just keep maximizing build power where we can here. That was probably less efficient because I wasn't heading the same direction. Anyway, getting all that metal up is very important. We're gonna send you over here because you're in the way. There we go. Now, another thing that's interesting is as the eco player, if you start to run out of space for anything, you can suck up your metal extractors. Okay, I want to explain here why. One metal extractor gives you 7 metal, whereas an energy converter, well, this one's low on energy right now because we're just using so much power trying to get our build power up. There we go, that'll help with the build power. Anyway, one energy converter, if we can get it to open, it can end up producing up to 10 metal. That's what I'm trying to say. So 10 metal for this much space versus 7 metal for this much space. So at a certain point, if you end up maxing out your base where you do not have room to build, suck up your metal extractors, it's more efficient to build an energy converter and have it be fully functional than it is to have a metal extractor up. That's just for the space wise anyway. All right, now we're getting to the point where we need that advanced fusion, which it's at 15 minutes, and that's partly because I forgot to suck up that T2 factory. You can probably get it a little bit sooner if you do. And you can see we're starting to stall on metal again. Now, these guys hold 4,000 metal each, so what we can do is we can suck up one of them. And that'll give us the metal we need to really get this advanced fusion up. So just recycling into more powerful equipment is really the key to economy. Is just making sure you're getting the most efficient energy production you can. So after that thing gets sucked up, that fusion reactor will be boosted on this again. In fact, we can just tell everything. Suck that up and then tell everything to build that. And that'll give us a little bit more consistent building there. And we might not want to turn off a fusion reactor yet. We're stalling on energy now, but we'll make it. We'll make it. It's easier to get energy than it is to get metal. So it looks like we'll get it done in about 10 seconds, be my guess, and we should have enough metal for it. And then our production's just gonna go nuts after we hit that. Ooh, just enough right there. Boom. Okay, so obviously that was late. 17 minutes. People can get them done in 12, and I'm still working on it. But like I said, this is a beginner's build, not the most efficient build. It's just a very simple build to do. So easy to do, and it makes you good enough. Especially if you integrate taking that T2 factory apart, you can really go nuts with it. And once you get your second, I would say once you get your second or third, once you get your second or third fusion or advanced fusion up, take a look at the map. Just double check, are we being pushed really heavily? Have they just kind of stopped? If the enemy team has stopped doing anything, then that's a time that you might want to be a bit nervous about it, because that means they could be going into like T2 or T3 pushes, things like that. Anyway, it's a good idea after your second advanced fusion comes up that you go into a T3, and the reason being is people can do a push in and try to they'll do like a push and try to get marauders. There's timings you can get on it where marauders can push in the canyon and just dumpster people. So you want to be careful to try to catch that timing. Which usually I'm a bit late on it. But I would build like three Razorbacks can usually just help, you know? Help enough. We really need the build power down here because we're capped on energy, it looks like. But yeah, like you can tweak it. Don't worry about tweaking it or anything if you need to. If you feel like there's something that you can improve. Like I said, this is just a basic one. But yeah, your whole goal as the economy is to get your eco just booming. So if the later you can push off a T3, the better your economy will be, just because you can focus on it more. But I do want to show the example of, you know, ultimately it's the end goal to get it to that point, right? So yeah, and this is where we're kind of stalling, so I'm just gonna go straight into the T3, get that finished, and then we'll focus on that advanced fusion. That way we're not building two things slowly, we're building one thing quickly and then another thing quickly. That'll be better. Now, depending on how urgent it is, depends on how urgent you need to make this being produced. If it's seems to be all right and there's not like a lot of craziness going on, then you know it's fine. Also, I will often take my guy after he gets the nuclear missile or anti-nuke up, and after he gets the T3 up, I'll take him out here and start building some defenses. Just the pulsar towers, they're very good defenses. You can send some of your T1 to help him if you want. And if you had butlers, they would be great for helping him get some of the T2 defenses up there. The pulsar is very effective at shutting down T3, which is why it's good to have a couple on your front line. In fact, that's a little bit too... It depends on where your front line is. If it's collapsed a bit, then, you know, pull it back. But if you have a decent front line still, you know, you could throw some of them up like that. Alrighty, we got our first T3 unit out here. And you can just scale from here. Like, it's essentially a rinse and repeat at this point. And we want to put high priority on our build power for the energy converters, because we're starting to leak energy, it looks like. Just the worst thing ever for economy is leaking your energy.
T3 unit is ready.
So, yeah. Like I said, you gotta kind of read the battlefield. If it's too late in the game and you want to get these out a bit sooner, I'm sure you can try to push out a T3 facility with only one fusion reactor or one advanced fusion reactor, but it's going to be a bit less efficient to scale. Because like we're at the point where we can probably, if we have enough time in the game, we can probably scale this very, very quickly and just go nuts, because we can add a whole nother layer here, and then we'll add more energy conversion here, and as much economy as we can put into our economy, we'll see a massive return from it. But there is a point in the game where you want to say, okay, my economy is booming and I need to focus on units. But usually once I like to hit around 250 metal income from my economy before I do that. Let's go, boys. Get this built. Because we have a couple, we're at 80% energy income, which means we probably honestly aren't ready for that yet, but there it is. It's almost done. But yeah, the economy position is a bit more boring compared to the front line. I mean, it's not necessarily boring, but it can feel boring at times. You're like, yeah, I have 2 units out on the map, but you're a very pivotal role because you're the one who's going to be scaling to like massive amounts of army and stuff. You know, compared to everyone else, you're the most important role as far as how the game really goes. So that's really it, guys. I don't need to show you much more than this. If you guys enjoyed, definitely subscribe. Really would appreciate that. We're a small channel trying to grow and improve things every day. And if you want to see a video that, you know, maybe you haven't seen a video for Beyond All Reason on a certain topic, then let me know in the comments and we'll try to get some of your guys' requests out there. And if you have any tips on how we can improve these videos, definitely let me know as well. I also have a Twitch channel. You can check that out. We also got a Discord channel where you can submit reviews. And yeah, we're just building up a community here. So definitely join in and we'll love to see you. Anyway, guys, I will see you on the battlefield.